In 2024, there have been many sequels or continuations of franchises that we have seen so far, and for the most part, they have been great. We saw Furiosa, Mad Max, we saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we saw Dune Part 2, we saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Most sequels and continuations of franchises this year have been hits, have been great, because a lot of them have been following the source material, a lot of them have been respecting the source material and delivering what the fans want. Even though there have been some trash sequels and trash continuations of franchises this year, this movie is not that case. This movie actually continues the trend of great sequels, great continuations of franchises, and this movie in particular really respects the source material that came before it. And it's crazy to think that it took 36 years for a sequel to the Beetlejuice movie to be released. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, this movie is very funny. It still keeps the same comedy, it still keeps the same creativity, it still keeps the same love for their universe, because I'm gonna tell you this movie had a lot of jokes from start to finish. This movie was a comedy in my opinion, but it wasn't just all a comedy. They had moments where they stopped for a while, where they actually stopped and put on the brakes and delivered great character development, delivered great scenes that were actually meant for a character. And from start to finish, this movie was a very funny movie, but this movie also had one little minor thing, one little minor critique that I would say, and that the plot, especially with the main antagonist, wasn't really the main focal point of the movie. But I'm gonna think right now that the main antagonist is actually Beetlejuice, even though they had a main antagonist, and her name was Dolores, because the movie starts off in the underworld where this worker, he looked very funny, man. He was very funny in this scene, but he was working in this morgue, basically in the underworld. But something happened in this morgue that caused Dolores to be resurrected. And Dolores, she is a former ex-wife of Beetlejuice, because when Beetlejuice was just a grave digger, just digging corpses, getting nasty souvenirs, getting hearts, getting body parts, just being a nasty individual, that he even stated in the movie that he was at a dark place at that time. When he was doing one of his grave digging, he now met Dolores. And when he met Dolores, you know, they instantly fell in love with each other. They went to marry very quick. And when they married, Beetlejuice and Dolores, they had a great time together. You know, they really did have a great time. In the movie, they explained that when they married, on the day, they just started having sex, having like great sex, you know. But Beetlejuice now realized something. He realized that she was a soul snatcher. She wanted to kill Beetlejuice and take his soul, because after they had sex, Beetlejuice, now he went to stand up, she gave him a drink, and when he drank that drink was actually revealed to be poison. She wanted to kill Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice, he now killed her. And that was crazy. When he did that, he killed her, dismembered her, and he locked her away. So then when he met Lydia Deetz, and Beetlejuice was kind of a ditty, because Lydia said that when, you know, she was a teenager, Beetlejuice was stalking her, destroying her life. That was seen in the first movie. The first movie was a very great movie in my opinion. And the Beetlejuice franchise, both movies are actually saved in this sequel, because we're seeing the same funny staples, the same funny sequences that the first movie had to offer. And one of those staples that they kept from the first movie is the relationship with Beetlejuice and Lydia Deetz, because Lydia in this movie, she has had enough of Beetlejuice antics. She doesn't want to be with Beetlejuice anymore. She doesn't want to do anything with Beetlejuice anymore. That's why she now has a new man, and that's Rory. But Rory is a odd dude. Rory is a odd, funny dude, but he's a little odd as well, because he really loves Lydia, not really loving her, to be honest. He doesn't really love her. He acts like he's loving her because we are really seeing the signs that he's just using Lydia as a crutch to get higher in the Hollywood industry, because Lydia, she has a talk show where she is this ghost hunter and she is catching ghosts on the show, but he is using Lydia. He is only really wanting her because she has this fame, she has this fortune due to her life story and due to her history. So we're seeing that it's causing a rift between her and her daughter. And when we now go back to the home of this family, we see that Lydia, she's still having flashbacks of Beetlejuice. She is still having visions of Beetlejuice, because when she was on the show, she saw someone that looked like Beetlejuice, but it wasn't Beetlejuice. But I do think it was Beetlejuice playing some mind games of some sort, because she had a complete mental breakdown. She had to go to the bathroom, and Rory now chased her. Rory asked if she was okay. Rory saw that she was still on the pills again. Rory tried to throw the pills in the trash, but she asked Rory, can we please just have this for one day? Let me just have these pills for one day. And I thought that Rory was a good guy at first, but he started to show his tendencies of wanting to, just use her for her fame. At this time of need, she has to leave. But we're seeing that Beetlejuice, he's still in the underworld right now. He's still in the underworld, but just up until this point, he now realizes that he's being hunted. He's being hunted by Dolores, and he's not too paranoid as we would think, and also as Wolf Jackson, played by Willem Dafoe, would think as well, because Willem Dafoe, he is a police commissioner and a former actor, but he was very funny in this movie because he didn't want to be a policeman. He just wanted to be an actor, but he also wanted to be a policeman as well. But we now see that Dolores is hunting Beetlejuice. So Beetlejuice, he now has someone named Bob. He has Bob to wear a disguise that if Dolores sees Beetlejuice, she'll think Beetlejuice is Bob, so then she'll not kill Bob and Beetlejuice can make an escape. But one thing I didn't really like about this movie, because they didn't really add a main focus with Dolores. I wish they would have made Dolores have more scenes as to why she is this unstoppable force that we can't stop, or that Beetlejuice is scared, because he didn't really care about her. But that's why I also believe that Beetlejuice was the main antagonist of the movie, because we're seeing that he's in the underworld and he still has not forgotten Lydia, because back to the main world, Astrid, who's played by Jenna Ortega, who is the daughter of Lydia, and unfortunately Lydia's husband or ex-husband, who died earlier, that Lydia is not trying to resurrect or not trying to talk to in the astral plane as a ghost, but she's wanting to talk to other ghosts. That's why it's causing Astrid to not really like her mom. And Astrid also doesn't like her stepdad, Rory, because Rory, he's obnoxious and he's a little odd. So when they had an argument, because one of their granddad, he died, he passed away due to this mad situation when he was in the sea, the boat fell over, then he got his body chomped away by a shark, and it was so funny seeing him pop up in the underworld. His body was chopped completely through. You can only see the mid torso down to his legs. It was funny because in the underworld, the way you die is the way you will be for the rest of your time. I'm like, damn, man, that's crazy. But we're seeing that Astrid, she has had enough of this relationship, of this life, so then she now rides her bike. But then as she riding her bike, when something happens that causes her to lose balance of the bike, she now smashes through a fence, and we now see one of the antagonists of the movie, Jeremy. And Jeremy at first was a nice boy, he was a nice kid, that when he saw her smash through his fence and land under his treehouse, he met Astrid. They became friends, well, more than friends, but Astrid, she likes Jeremy too. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. But we now see that Jeremy's real intentions of this movie, he actually needs someone on this living earth to bring him back to earth, because Jeremy is actually a ghost. Jeremy is actually an evil ghost, that his spirit is so evil because when he was alive, he killed his parents. That's why we never really saw his parents. That's why when Jeremy brought Astrid into the house, we didn't see the faces of the parents, because the wife had some metal rod stuck in her eye, and the dad had like a pizza cutter or some type of cutter stuck in his head. And I was like, that's crazy. That was creative in my opinion. That was creative because, you know, you wouldn't really think that, but it was pretty funny though. But Jeremy was a weird dude. He is a weird dude because he now traps Astrid in the underworld because he tricks and manipulates Astrid into doing this seance, doing this ritual where Astrid will do this spell. And this spell, what Astrid didn't know, because she was ignorant at the time to the dark arts, because she thought that ghosts and ghouls and the mythology were fake. So Jeremy used that to his advantage to trick Astrid into basically trapping herself in the underworld. So when Jeremy exchanges Astrid, we now see that Astrid is stuck. I like that concept, but I didn't like that they kind of killed him so quick. I kind of thought that like he would have been not like a big villain, but like a sub villain all the way kind of to the end, but you're not kill him later at the end. But the universe, like especially the underworld, was very funny. I liked all the scenes of the underworld. The underworld was visually pleasing in my opinion. This movie was very funny. It was very creative in my opinion. And Beetlejuice, played by Michael Keaton, when he reprised his role, he hit all of those scenes as if this was 1988 again. Even though I'm not that old, I was born in 2002, but when I watched Beetlejuice originally, the first Beetlejuice, comparing Michael's scenes from the first to the second one, they match up, and Michael Keaton was very impressive in this new movie. But my only criticism was the villain, Dolores, because we don't really see her throughout the whole movie. She's just walking around sucking people's souls and walking around sucking people's souls, still getting closer to find Beetlejuice. So when she eventually finds Beetlejuice, and it's actually the day of Halloween, and that is actually Lydia's marriage with Rory, but Lydia almost misses it because she has to go into the underworld to save Astrid because Astrid was locked by Jeremy. And then Lydia, Astrid, they now cause Jeremy's death in the underworld because they reunite with Lydia's ex-husband, and he was like killed with piranhas. Also, when he came and saved them, piranhas was still in his body. It was a very funny scene, but also touching at the same time. So then when Lydia and Astrid get saved, they go back to the surface world. Lydia makes it in time for her wedding with Rory that she didn't really want. She didn't really want this wedding, but the wedding is crashed by Beetlejuice. That's why I think that Beetlejuice is the main villain, the main antagonist, because he made a deal in the underworld with Lydia to basically marry each other. So now that they're basically married, they have to marry with each other now, and Lydia doesn't want it. So I'm like, Beetlejuice, man, you're a little bit of a ditty in this situation, man, I ain't even gonna lie. But Beetlejuice, he is not having it. So he basically makes everyone that attended the wedding, who are like celebrities, they now suck themselves into their phones and they basically kill themselves in their phones. That was a creative scene. I was like, damn, that's pretty wild. Some of the CGI was a little bit off, but some of it was pretty good. But then when I see Dolores, she now crashes the wedding. Now my main criticism, it happens here because Dolores, I thought we're gonna see an intense fight with her and Beetlejuice because she seemed strong, she seemed menacing, and she had intent of getting Beetlejuice back by any means necessary. But Beetlejuice just beats her in like a one-hit kill, like not like a real hit anyway. He just like tricks Beetlejuice and someone else, but then how tricks them, he now smashes them through the ground. I was like, damn, that was a waste of a villain in my opinion. But one sad part about the movie, because I forgot her name, but the lady with the orange hair, I forgot her name. I'll put her picture here, but she was very funny in the movie. She was so funny. She made me laugh a lot of times in the movie because she's just an asshole. She's also using Lydia for her fame and using the death of the grandpa for her fame, but she actually loved the grandpa, but she died, and it was pretty sad when she died. She got bit by a snake, and the snake like bit into her neck, and she died. But when she now was in the underworld, she didn't want to be in the underworld, but she now got reunited with the guy that got a piranha, his whole body except for his mid-torso down to his legs. Yeah, so she reunited with him, and that was a funny part of the movie. But this movie was a funny movie. It's a good movie. It's a good sequel, in my opinion. I think it's a worthy sequel. I think this sequel respected the first movie's efforts and the first movie's contributions, you know, to movies in general. So yeah, I do think it's a good movie. I do think you should check it out, but just know that the main villain is not going to be the focal point of the movie. The main villain is not going to be the main thing, the main attraction. It's Beetlejuice. That's the end of the video. I'm out. Peace.